everybody to another edition of your Premier Madden League report. This is your boy Is Nefarious, and I have another special guest this week, one of the top users in the league, maybe not top five compared to other people on some people's lists, but one of the top users in my book. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yep, I'm the Browns user. Glad to be back on here.
Alright, so everybody knows the Brown user. He is Bacon Boy, Bacon and Bits, John Bacon.
I don't talk to like that.
Bacon, this is your second time on Premier Madden League, the league report. I forgot, I think I had a dual league report when the last time I had you on. It was you and the 49ers user, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was a good one. I know we're deep into it, but in your party settings, do you have shared chat audio? Because I think we ran into that situation last time.
Yeah, is that under allow your voice to be shared?
Yeah.
Yep, I got that, and I got private chat, so it should be good.
And yeah, it either has always allowed party chat or like don't allow us, some crap like that.
Yep, I got on always allow. So.
Perfect. Yeah, we didn't want the same situation as last time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we got some stuff to talk about. First thing I want to talk about is what I've been doing this season is going through, picking through people's brains about who is the top users, top shit talkers. You know, a little bit of fun stuff when it comes to the users that have played in PML or don't play in PML anymore. So I'm gonna ask you your top 5 users from 5 to 1. You gotta tell me, yes, from 5 to 1, and this includes every PML user that was in PML ever. So since you've been in PML, it's gonna be any user that you've watched or played against. So the mole counts, Finn counts.
Okay.
The first Colts user counts. Anybody that you've played against really counts or seen play.
Okay. 5 to 1. How about I start at 1?
You could start at 1 if you're more comfortable going with 1 because 1's the easy one. Then go ahead.
Yeah, it's easier to think from top down. But I'd have to say for sure, it's going to come as a surprise to anyone. That to me, the number 1 user is the Natural. I've never beaten him. I think he's 10-0 against me because we played once in the playoff and once this year. But
Yeah.
I've brought it closer every time, but I still can't pull it off. Last time I had like a 20-point lead and blew it. But
Oh man.
he can beat you in any way. I'd say he's probably the best runner in PML. And he can pass when he needs to. And when he does, he's got his plays down. He knows where to go. He knows what's open. And then defensively, he can just do whatever he wants out there. Like he'll get some instant sacks, get some crazy picks. He's got the best click on, one of the best user linebackers. He's got it all. I don't really know if there's anyone who can really give him much of a challenge in here.
Yeah, he's definitely a pain in the ass to say the least. You know, somebody that spends a lot of time, you know, focusing on the game and playing the game. You really can't beat that unless you're pretty much doing the same thing, knowing all the ins and outs of the game and stuff like that. It's tough to beat somebody like that. Who would be your number 2?
So I'm just gonna try to go off the people I've played. So I'm gonna leave off people like basically all the NFC top users, so 49ers, Seahawks, Buccaneers. I played Cowboys. But those 3 I'll leave off just because I haven't played them. I don't know.
Yeah.
But for number 2, I'd probably have to say Finn. Probably he was really good. He had a great user defense. He could run the ball well. He could pass. He could do it all. He had a pretty similar play style to the Natural. He was just a little less aggressive in the passing game, but other than that, it's really similar in terms of play, anything like that. But I'd say he's second best I've played.
Yeah, he's one of the best users that I played. He was able to cover a lot of ground with his usual linebacker. Like he always took away the first read, and by the time you got to the second read, he was already covering it with his usual linebacker. So it was kind of he was a pain in the ass to play. So he's one of the best users I played on defense. Offense, there was a lot of talk about his game being kind of lackluster on offense, but he got the job done. As long as you get the job done on offense and you can win on defense, that's the big key, especially in Madden 19 and the way the picks work and everything like that. It's a big interception driven type of league and type of game, So once you start getting those interceptions, you see the ones piling up. So yeah, Finn was definitely one of the toughest when it came to playing his defense. Who would be your number three?
Yeah, well, that's a good segue when you're talking about interceptions because the next two are two of the best user linebackers in the league. I'd say 3 and 4. You can put them in either order, and I don't think you'd be wrong. I'd say Cowboys and Bills are 3 and 4 for me. They both got great user linebacker skills, and both of them can get it done in any way on offense. They both throw a lot of picks just because they're so aggressive with it, but when they lock in, they can lock in and go off for 500 yards, 200 yards on the ground, anything like that. I've been playing against Bills for like probably 3 or 4 Maddens now, and I've seen his game. So if you think he's cheesy now, you should have seen him a few years ago. But
Oh man, tell you what though, when it comes to Bills, the last game I played him, I don't think I have anything to point out or complain about. I mean, he did throw a lot of posts, but it wasn't the same play. It wasn't out of the same formation or same play. He didn't rely on plays in certain situations. He did a good job of mixing it up, especially on offense. I didn't really pay attention too much on defense. Um, I didn't pay attention to his defensive game as far as what he picked. But when it came to offense, I didn't really notice anything where he was cheesy and picking the same plays and leaning on certain plays in certain situations. So that was good. Definitely that's the first game that's ever happened where I'm like, I would have gave him a good sim score, but but yeah, he's a tough user. I talked about playing him, then playing a natural, and I mentioned how you play them and their defense is so stingy that you're trying to play conservative, you're trying to move the ball, score touchdowns, and not make a mistake. But then they're stingy on defense. They get one stop, and then they come down and score. They get a 7-point lead. Then they get another stop. They come down and let's say kick a field goal, so they get a 10-point lead. And then you start to think, we're going into the third quarter, we're going into the fourth quarter, wherever. You're like, I got to get something going. If I don't get something going now, then it's just going to be all downhill from here. So then you start forcing it, and that's when they start eating up on your mistakes, and that's when the game ends up 44-5, 44-7, 44-16, 50-10. Like that's when those scores start to happen. When you start thinking, I got to start forcing some stuff to really get some points on the board.
yeah, I mean, I've definitely fallen into that against the natural. Even when I'm up, I feel like I have to score every play, and that forces me into big turnovers that he's always going to capitalize on. So you just got to block it.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
going back to the list, Bills definitely come a long way in terms of sim style. Gotten a lot better about it, but that usual linebacker is insane, especially with Edmonds. He's just a total freak.
Oh yeah.
And then for Cowboys, same thing. They're pretty similar in that they can both run the ball really well laterally and get yards that way, or they're going to pass it down the field, and they're both really good at it. And they both like their speed guys to just outrun everyone and get there.
Yeah, and
And then,
with Cowboys too, he's a solid sim type user. He's like the natural, and I mean, everybody on your list he's like one of the guys where I know it's going to be a sim style where I don't even think he chooses the same play more than once type of thing on offense. Defense, that's a different story because it's a lot tougher. I don't think he chooses the same play out of the same formation on defense, so I give him that. But one of the more sim style users in the league in my book. Go ahead and continue on with your number five.
number 5 for me, I'd have to go with Bengals, honestly. I've played him a lot. In the first year we played, I went 0-2 against him. Next year it was 1-1. Then from then on, once I really got Baker going, I would sweep him, but they're always really close. He's got one of the best defenses in the league. Offense, he's still got to figure out how to pass really, but he was starting to get there before he had to drop off this summer because of his work.
Hmm.
But he's one of the best runners in the league. I'd say he's top 5 for sure in terms of running the ball. He's up there with Seahawks, Ravens,
Yeah.
Buccaneers, 49ers, all those guys. He can hang with any of them. And his defense is insane. He's really built it well because they don't start with a whole lot of pieces, but he's capitalized on the guys he does have and really built them pretty well. I'm interested to see what he can pull off in Madden 20.
Yeah, it's gonna
In the
be.
easier division, most likely. I think he'll be a playoff contender every year.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see what the divisions look like pretty much in Madden 20. I mean, where you're gonna end up, where I'm gonna end up, who we're gonna end up playing, all that stuff. Can you hear music right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my girl in the background. Hey, you mind lowering that a little bit? Please. just you just had your headphones in. You're doing that to be an asshole. As long as I can hear you, we're all set. Hopefully, it's not too loud on the broadcast, but whatever. So now to a little bit of fun to ruffle some feathers. Let's do your bottom. We'll do a bottom 3. We won't do a bottom 5. We'll do a bottom 3. Who's your bottom of the league dwellers?
I don't want to be too mean about this because I know
Don't worry.
they're really good guys.
Yeah, they're still in the league. They're strong guys. Who are your bottom 3 that you've played? We'll just say you've played. So if you haven't played them, don't even include them. I mean, I don't know if you've played the Bears. He's usually at the bottom of the league. All right, so just based on who you've played, you could put me in there. I don't even care. Like I don't get butthurt about anything.
Well, we know we got to put Skyrider in there. He's definitely in the bottom 3.
Oh, you've played him.
Professor himself. Oh yeah.
How bad was it? I did not get to play him and I did not get to watch him. How bad was it?
I would win by at least like 35. I think I only played him once or twice. It was just bad. I would score and he'd get in chat and talk a bunch. Talk about how he's a teacher, all this stuff. But it was bad.
The professor.
Yeah. I miss him though. It's funny watching him like
Yeah. It was like
it was always a good show.
It was like IQ matches collide there.
But after that, I'd probably say Raiders. I think that's just because he's more into the team building rather than the playing. So I think he's probably been tanking because there's some stuff that happens, but there's no way that things like that can't happen intentionally, like some of the pick sixes, stuff like that.
I'm in the same boat as you with Oakland. I mean, I remember the year I made the playoffs. I believe it was my second year as the Pats user. I had Oakland on the schedule, and I expected to win. I went in there expecting to win, but the first throw he made, I mean. I sat there and watched my cornerback sit in front of his wide receiver on a comeback, just stand there. I watched him look at him, throw it straight to AJ Boye, and AJ Boye take it for a pick six, and I was like, wow. Like I could not. I didn't even think it was real at that time. Like I thought it was fake that he was gonna say, hey, let's restart or whatever. I was lagging. I can't believe he made that throw.
Past those two, I'd probably say the Chiefs user we had for the one playoff game. I think I'm the only one who actually ended up playing him. Super nice guy. I talked to him with DMs after the game. He's super nice. But he was just... he was bad. He was about the same as Skyrider, where he just... And even Skyrider was saying he sucks. Because I think they had played each other like week 17 before the playoffs.
Oh yeah, and Skyrider won that game, so that tells you.
20.
Jeez. Yeah, that was the Chiefs you're talking about, the Rolls Royce guy.
Yeah, he was a nice dude, but he was terrible.
Yeah, I haven't had the pleasure of playing him or Skyrider, but man, oh man, if they're better than worse than my boy over in Oakland, then they shouldn't be in this league.
Skyrider was entertaining.
He was very entertaining. It's kind of like
Oh,
why
gotta
we
give
keep
him that.
Vikings around.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's one reason he's still here.
He keeps us entertained. All right, so now speaking of Vikings, he likes to say he's the best shit talker in the league. Why don't you give me your top 3 shit talkers that you've seen in chat?
I don't know if I would say Vikings is the best one, but he definitely does the most.
Oh yeah, he's the most active, that's for sure.
Yeah. I'd say, I guess I can put them 1-2. Just watching Finn and the National go at it, they both deserve it up there because they've had some classic battles where they just go hard against each other, and we all just gotta sit back and watch. But after that, honestly, I feel like it could be Jets. Because Jets is always in there, and like when he does something,
He's low key.
It's pretty hostile. Yeah, he's out for blood though when he does.
Yeah, when
But,
he's very low key and he's very his shit talking is very intellectual. It's never like
yeah.
it's never like dirty grimy type shit. It's just it's intellectually like a burn or something like that. He definitely gets
Yeah.
you, and it's out of nowhere half the time.
Yeah, well, and then I'll do 5. So those 3. Then I gotta say Vikings. He deserves credit for how active he is. And I gotta say Skyrider because he's his counterpart. He's not been the same without him.
You know
I'd
what?
say those are the top 5.
You know what? I gotta talk shit more. I think I win every battle I talk shit in, but I guess I gotta do it more. But when you lose to the computer Bengals, you can't really talk shit anymore. You kind of gotta sit there with a shit-eating grin on your face.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't do it a whole lot. But I remember, I think the pinnacle of my shit talk was when I discovered Eagles with Terry McLaurin with like 5 catches for -200 yards.
Oh
Or something like
yes, yes, I remember
I
that.
just went full detective mode, wrote a full article.
That was awesome. I appreciate the time to write a whole article on shit talking. I appreciate it.
You gotta be thorough with it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so what the fuck? So let's go in. And she just used the garbage disposal, and I was like, what the fuck? She turns at me and she starts laughing because she knows I'm on the fucking thing. So next thing we're gonna go into our top 50. So this week we're gonna do numbers 40 to 36. I sent you the list, but we'll go one by one. You haven't watched any. I don't think you've watched any of them yet. So I'll just rattle them off. I'll start with number 40. Your boy, the Cleveland Browns safety, Jabril Peppers, is gonna come in at number 40.
Yeah, dude, he's a good player. He's been a solid player on the back end for me since the start. I've really built up his zone coverage because that's mainly what I do. But I think something I'm really surprised to see is he's ahead of Jennings on here. So I'd say Jennings is a top 4 pass rusher, but he was only in the 40s, which was pretty surprising. But,
Yeah, I
Peppers,
think
I can put him anyway.
Peppers probably got the nod a little higher than Jennings. Is just a household name. Most people know Jabril Peppers. He made the list. He was eligible just based on his season last year. I mean, he was at least top 10 or top 15 in pass deflections. Had a couple of interceptions, a couple of sacks, and he was also up there in tackles. He seems like he's always a part of the action, especially on defense.
Oh yeah, I've been able to rotate him in a bunch of different spots. I think when he first started, I put him at the slot corner because I had a couple other good safeties put back there. But then we lost some. No, I kept him there for a couple of years. Then 2 seasons ago, I put him back at deep safety. He did a good job. Then again, last year I flipped him back down to the slot, and he did well because there he can use his tackling skills really well and just make plays. But then this year I moved him back deep, and I put in one of my young corners in the slot. And he's been playing really well in the back end. He does it all. He can cover really well. He can tackle. If I put him in man, he'll do well. I've put him at corner some. He's played both safeties. He's played a little amount of sub linebacker, but that's a little cheesy, so I don't put him there too often. But he could play any role you want. He's a good returner, but I usually don't risk him out there just because he's so valuable to the defense.
Hmm.
But he really does anything you ask of him. I think he could be a good running back if I needed him to be in a pinch.
Yeah. He
Accessible.
he's I remember playing you and playing against him, and you know a guy would look open, look wide open, and he'd close in 20, like 15, 20 yards, close in out of nowhere. He just has that type of acceleration and ability to make something look open and take it away in an instant. He's not blazing fast, but he's got that good acceleration, 96 acceleration with a 98 zone coverage. So even though when he looks like he's not around, he's there, and you got to be aware of him. He's definitely one of the best safeties in the league. That's for damn sure, and it's no surprise why he ends up on this list. Like you said, I probably would have said Jennings above him, but you can't really go wrong with either. Peppers is a beast. Coming in at number 39 from the Atlanta Falcons, Takaris McKinley.
Yeah, he's a really pass rush. Falcons are going to need help on that defense. They're Deion Jones. But he's a great pass rusher. I think he had 14, 15 sacks last year, something like that. He's got some really good finesse moves off the edge. And we all remember him on draft night. Wasn't he the guy who picked up Roger Goodell? Was that him? I remember he did something memorable.
Yeah, I think so. I think he was the one that did that.
I'll work it out. But yeah, he's a good edge guy, and we know you can never have enough of those in this league.
Oh yeah, specifically the edge guys, people like him, people like Njoku. McKinley as an end had 15.5 sacks last season. That's a good year. By PML standards, that's not the best year. That's probably why he's this high. I don't think he should be above Jennings, but I think that's more of a name thing, a household name. Just based on last season's stats, I think Jennings had definitely a better year. He did have a lot of tackles for loss, though, McKinley. Almost 20 tackles for loss. He had 58 tackles with the 15.5 sacks. He was able to deflect a few passes from the line. He had a safety as well and 4 forced fumbles. So, he makes plays. He's definitely a game changer. He deserves to be on this list. I don't know if he deserves to be above somebody that was below him, somebody like Jennings, but he definitely deserves to be on this list. Based on just never mind his stats. You take a look at his attributes. 86 speed with 93 acceleration. The finesse move is at a 92. Great tackling, great pursuit. He's a great overall end, especially in this league.
Right, he's a great player.
Definitely a great player. Let's go on to number 38, coming from the Rams. Probably one of the best, was one of the best players in the league years before. Kind of getting old, losing a step or two. We're going to go with Aaron Donald, the right end from the Los Angeles Rams, coming in at number 38.
Yeah, he's dominant. I know last year in the NFL, and he had one of the best seasons ever by a defensive lineman, period, especially not on the interior. He was just a dominant player. He's going to bully anyone. you can't really block him because he's too quick for interior guys and too strong for the outside guys. He just does it all. He's someone I'm very lucky to not have crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at his season last year, 10 tackles for loss, 17 and a half sacks, 58 tackles, so he had a solid year, a little bit better year if you have high worth with the sacks, a little better of a year than McKinley. He had 3 forced fumbles, no safeties though, or pass deflections, but you know, when he's on that line, he gets the job done. I mean, like I said, he lost a step or two, so he's not quite the same player as he was when he was, you know, a top 10 end in the league. That's a little bit probably to do with the user as well.
Yeah.
But you take a look at him, 6'1", 280. I mean, as a defensive end with great speed for his size, great strength. I mean, you take a look at the power moves is a 90, finesse moves a 92, block shed is high. I mean, he's a complete end and a complete player. There's no doubt that, you know, anybody would be lucky to have Aaron Donald on their team. Maybe you would even do more damage on some users' teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I even tried to get him for Baker, but he was holding on tight to him.
Oh, so that was one of the shopping areas. You went over to
Oh, yeah.
Los Angeles and the Rams. You tried to hit up
shot
Key. So
I thought maybe he'd get real high one night.
yeah, we'll dive in after we're done with the top 50. We'll actually talk about who you went to, who you offered. I mean, who you offered Baker for and stuff like that. We'll talk about that a little bit. But coming in at number 37, we're gonna go over to the reigning NFC champions. Fell short in the Super Bowl. But one of the main reasons that his main reasons for his success on offense specifically, number 37 running back Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah, he was good on that offense. I know he had like 4 running backs that all did some serious damage, but McKinnon was the lead guy. He had a nice float, like 7 yards per carry last year,
Yep.
something like that. He was just great. You know, I haven't watched a whole lot of 49ers games, but when I have, he just runs all over people, and McKinnon was a really big part of that. He just got it done. He's not super flashy in any way, but he just did what he needed to do, and he did it well.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look. He only had 115 rushes for 800 yards, 7 yards a carry, 9 touchdowns. I mean, he definitely is somebody that lives and dies by the running back by committee slogan that Bill Belichick has adopted. But you know, Jerick McKinnon, when you're averaging 7 yards per carry, even if you don't get the ball much, as long as you get over 100 carries, and it's not just, you know, flash in a bottle, a flash in a can, or whatever, or flash in a pan. I said flash in a can, flash in a pan, or whatever. You know it's still legit. You deserve to be on the list. He also did a little damage through the air. He had almost 30 catches for 275 yards, for 9.5 yards per catch. I mean, Jerick McKinnon is somebody that could do it all. Definitely somebody that could be used as a weapon in pretty much any offense in PML. Great speed, good elusiveness, a great third down back. That, you know, in the right hands, he can do damage, and it just turns out that the 49ers user is the correct hands for him.
Yep.
Let's go on to number 36. We're going over to from the reigning NFC champs to the reigning AFC champs and the Super Bowl winner. We're gonna go over to the Baltimore Ravens, and probably somebody that you have nightmares about. Started off with a suspension last year for 4 games. Came back strong. Number 36, wide receiver Robbie Anderson.
That dude's a problem. I think he should be higher than he is. I think you can make an argument for him to be a top 3 receiver for sure, top 2 maybe. but he's just dangerous because he's fast. He's got size. He can catch. He's got good route running. He's just a nightmare. He's especially, he didn't start out as good as he is now. He got built there because he went from a pretty inept Jets offense to all of a sudden one of the best in the league, if not the best in Baltimore. Where Lamar Jackson can just chuck him bombs and do crazy things, and he can do it in space. He can run the full route tree, and he can do it well. He's just a threat. And I've had my fair share of dreams crushed because Robbie Anderson gets a crazy catch down the field at crunch time. He's a great player. It's not fun to play against.
Yeah, Robbie Anderson is definitely a problem, especially in the hands of the natural. Especially since the natural does like to run his crossing routes, and when you got somebody with that speed running a crossing route, if he finds you in the right coverage, and takes advantage of it, that's pretty much why he was suspended the year before, is because, he does damage. Once he gets the ball in his hands, he gets into open fields. He's great with the ball, great without the ball. He could run all the routes, like you said. I mean, 58 catches. This was only in 12 games. So 58 catches. Actually, no, he was suspended for only one game last year because he was suspended in the playoffs. Let me go to general just to see. Yeah, so he's only suspended for one game last year. So 58 catches, 1,143 yards, 19.7 yards a catch. He would have got suspended again if we didn't change that rule. And then you had 16 touchdowns. I mean, he was tops in the leagues in touchdowns, even with the suspension. Just a dangerous player, especially when you got one of the best the best running game. Then you got one of the best wide receivers. So it's just the natural as a user has made him a problem. In the Jets' hands, he wasn't really a problem. You could handle him. You didn't have to worry about him. But when he's in that right offense, definitely should be the top 2, top 3 type of wide receiver in the league, like you mentioned.
Yeah, he's a threat.
Oh yeah, he's a threat in pretty much that's pretty much all he has for wide receivers too. You take a look at everybody else on his team, it's low overall guys, a lot of speed, but guys that really can't do anything. And then you got Robbie Anderson, who's an absolute monster. That's all he needs. He needs Robbie Anderson and TBJ, and then he's all set. All right, so
you would think those other guys don't do anything though, but they make it work somehow.
Yeah, he'll find them once in a while. He'll find them a few times, and then they have a decent game. But once you start looking at them, Robbie Anderson goes off, or TBJ goes off. I mean, it's just he could make a lot happen with a little. Like that he's one of those users that could do a lot with a little. So now that we're all done with the top numbers 40 to 36, we'll jump into your trades and stuff like that.
Sure.
Before we do, let me just reiterate for people that weren't paying attention. We had Jabril Peppers that came in at number 40. Takaris McKinley came in at number 39. Aaron Donald came in at number 38. Jerick McKinnon came in at number 37, and then we had, last but not least, Robbie Anderson that came in at number 36. Next league report will do number 35 to 31. But let's move on and talk about Baker trades. So I could speak on one trade. Well, one trade that could have been. I mean, you asked me if I wanted Baker, and Najee Harris would have been a part of whatever deal I would have said to you. So, we'll pretend that you haven't traded Baker. What would have been the offer if I said, yeah, we'll talk about Najee Harris for Baker? What else would I had to offer with Najee Harris to get Baker? What were you looking at?
It would have been tough just because this is the last season. Takes factor. So, I mean, I was just throwing it at the wall, seeing what I had probably messaged like 20 teams trying to get an offer, figure something out, but Eventually, I got an offer that was really good. I stuck it out from last year. I didn't settle for anything, and eventually, I got one that I think has worked out really well. But from you, definitely Najee Harris because he's a great running back. Probably would have gotten one of your linebackers because that's my biggest weakness on my team, I'd say. Because I know you've got some good ones. That maybe a corner or safety, O line probably. I ought to take one of those guys. And you can never have too many receivers.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, you could have too many receivers. You have way too many receivers. So if you would have said a receiver, I'd been like, "What are you smoking?" Um, you probably key stuff like that. You don't need any more wide receivers. Um, but yeah, I mean, I know it wouldn't just take Najee Harris. Maybe somebody like Osemele or somebody like Shaq Mason or Dave Andrews. I don't know if it would have took somebody like that, but I know Najee Harris definitely only moves the needle a little bit, especially when it comes to somebody like Baker. Not having draft
Yeah.
picks really hinders a lot of teams. So you said you had a bunch of trades. Could you go off some of the significant trades as far as you were moving Baker, but they were also moving a star player to you, or you were trying to get a star player from them and they just kind of turned you down?
Yeah. Well, there was the first one that started all of it was the Jalen Ramsey. That was the first one. I thought I might try to go back to that this year, but he said he signed Stafford, didn't have cap space, so that didn't really end up working out. I had a good one with the Broncos in place. It was for his first round pick this year, or I guess last year, which I don't know what that ended up being. What would have been that pick? His quarterback, Jawan Pass, who's got like 85 speed, 96 throw power, and one of his corners who has like 97 speed, 97 acceleration, 97 agility. And so I think that was those three was the Broncos offer, which also got denied. I thought it seemed pretty good, but I guess not. Then who else? I was talking to Lions at one point. I there were three guys that I liked. It was Campbell, your former linebacker. Um, the other one, Jared Davis, I think, and one of his O linemen, I think. Those were the three that I liked. I told him we would take two of them at least for Baker. And then the first Falcons offer, because I initially asked for Deion Jones plus something, and he just said outright no. But then we restructured to Devontae Parker, Desmond Trufant, and Bobby Evans, the right tackle. But that got denied because, I mean, it's just a bunch of players for players. It's not the NBA.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I actually think the Deion Jones trade was kind of perfect. I mean, yeah, he's sending a star player, you're sending a star player, and he just had to send a little extra just to, get it over. Um, that was probably the best trade. That Desmond Trufant and there you go with the wide receiver, Devontae Parker. It's like you got enough, bro. You don't need another wide receiver. I know you're downgrading a quarterback. Doesn't mean that you need to pick up another wide receiver to throw to. Um,
You can never be too safe.
I mean, yeah, I think even for you, the Deion Jones trade was the better trade.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe he was just probably what kind of helped you probably was his beginning to season, where he started thinking, I'm gonna need a quarterback to live. Because he was trying to go with KJ Costello, but he couldn't really do anything. Excuse me, he couldn't really do anything. But now he has, now he has Baker, and he's just getting smacked with Baker. So, I mean, nothing has really changed.
Yeah.
Is there any other? So you said you tried to get Aaron Donald from the Rams. Key wasn't having it though. He was like, nah.
Yeah.
He straight out
Yeah.
said nah.
Yeah, I asked a few times. And the first time he said no, I was like, okay, I'll just wait till tomorrow. I think I told him I'll just let him get a little bit more high. He'll probably say yes. He still said no. But that was a good one. I talked to Vikings at one point. He really wanted Baker because we all know he's a Browns fan. He makes sure we all know that.
Yeah, he
but
makes
he
you.
didn't really have a whole lot to offer.
Yeah,
So
well,
that one I turned down on my end.
yeah. So he didn't really have much to offer. I mean, just
Yeah.
looking at his team, his Mutt team. I mean, if anything, Stephon Diggs would be the first talking point. He didn't have J.J. Watt, so that's not a talking point. But Stephon Diggs would pretty much be the first the first name to drop, and you don't really need a Stephon Diggs.
Right.
And then, I mean, he doesn't have a lot of, uh, he doesn't have really what you need at linebacker either, especially
Yeah, he
since.
tried to. Got rid of a lot.
I'm sorry, what was that? Yeah, your mic's kind of acting up a little bit.
It is.
Yeah, it just like it gets all staticky and crackles, and
Uh,
it sounds like it's falling apart once in a while. But
yeah, it is falling apart.
but
I can see
was
the wires hanging out.
that explains it. Yeah, try not to touch it. Just let it
Okay.
sit there and speak into it. Just don't touch it at all. So what were you saying about
The
Vikings?
Yeah, he was trying to center it around Rhodes. He was like, he's a good
Wow.
corner, but he was nothing flashing. I don't think he would add enough to get rid of Baker. I think
No.
he would make a good corner. Because then I would have three really good ones with 90 plus zone coverage, but it wasn't worth giving up Baker. I think I need to get something at least equal in value because I was trying to get someone to overpay. I wasn't gonna overpay with Baker. I want someone to overpay for him.
Yeah,
So I mean,
exactly.
I'm happy to let him sit on my bench because then that's just another team that doesn't have him. So keeping him out of other people's hands too, I would have been fine to just keep him going.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't overpay, especially even though you wanted to move him badly, you would just fine keeping him on a bench. Um, but in the end, it really worked out for you getting Deion Jones. Worked out for you. Didn't work out for the Falcons because I don't think Baker's going to be the problem solver in Atlanta. It's
Yeah,
just he just needs to figure out his game. It's just like me. It's like I'm gonna trade for Baker. I mean, it's not gonna solve my problems. I should be able to perform pretty much the same way with somebody like Kyle Shermer or Dylan McCaffrey. It's just my decision making and everything. That's what really matters. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it for this league report. It's been a pleasure having you and your broken mic on. Um, we were able to hear you for the most part, even with the music playing in the background. Um, I mean, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for doing the top 50. I'm gonna be posting the guys that we just did. So wait until after I post it, and then you could go ahead and claim your point for Jabril Peppers being on the top
alright.
50 list. All right, so that's gonna do it for us. It was a pleasure. Just tune in. We're gonna have I don't know who I'm gonna have on next league report, but then we'll do numbers 35 through 31. We're getting closer and closer to the top 10, what everybody's been waiting for. And just remember, when we get into the top 5, we're gonna have the God himself, the Natural, come on and go ahead and go through the top 5 with me, so everybody's just marking down the calendar for that episode. That's the money maker right there.
Yep. Gotta get
Uh,
that sponsorship.
yeah, exactly. I think I'm gonna get royalties from it. We'll see what happens. But that's gonna do it for us. Thank you for coming on again. Um, Good luck for the rest of the season. Hopefully you could beat the Natural at least once. Every time you guys play, I'm rooting for you. You're my sensei. I need you to at least grab one for me. All right.
No, I gotta pull out the last one.
Alright, let's hope that he doesn't hear this and he's like, you know what? I'll give him one because we don't want that pity win. We want that real one.
Yeah, me neither. It's gotta be earned.
Yeah, everyone's gonna be earned. But again, thank you. That's gonna do it for us on the league report, and we'll talk to you guys later. All right, I'm stopping.